So I came across a story that I read on Fortune about the Panama Canal being so congested that one ship owner just paid a record $4 million to skip to the front of the line. And honestly, guys, that's not even the worst part. So the article started off by stating Japan's Ineos Group paid $3.975 million in an auction on Wednesday to secure the crossing. All right, now let me tell you how this is gonna pan out moving forward. It's a simple game of supply and demand. And here's how to tell. Because if you read through Sea Trade Maritime News, you'll see how just a few weeks ago, they shared how the Panama Canal transit auction bids just skyrocketed. And at the time, auction trade slots on the Panama Canal were being bid up to $2.4 million. And well, here we are just a few short weeks later, and we are now nearly double that, a almost 200% increase in transit costs on top of everything else.
The El Nino weather phenomenon has contributed to a severe drought at the Panama Canal, leading to the driest October since records began back in 1950. Now, the Panama Canal Authority has been forced to cut daily ship numbers. During normal times, the canal sees 34 to 36 ships daily. And by February 1st, that number will be cut by about 50% to 18 ships. The low water levels have caused delays, prompting price increases for shipments.
So due to significant congestion at the Panama Canal, a record-breaking fee of nearly $4 million was paid by Ineos Group, which is a Japanese shipper, to expedite passage to the front of the queue. And this fee is in addition to the standard transit fees, which can amount to several hundreds of thousands of dollars already. Plus, the congestion has been exacerbated by a severe drought, leading to the recent implementation of stringent restrictions by the Panama Canal Authority, which also conducts auctions for priority crossing slots. How convenient. So the Panama Canal Authority conducts auctions that allow ship owners without reservations to bypass the queue for transit through the canal. And with the daily transit limit set at only 32 ships, recent bids have surged dramatically.
We handle about 55% of all containers that go to the United States from Asia. We do that in about 13,000 transits per year in regular times.
Shipping executives say container vessels now pay around $400,000 to cross the waterway. That includes a freshwater surcharge of more than 10%, meaning the lower the water levels, the more shipping companies have to pay.
So far, what we have tried is to reduce from 36.
And when the standard transit fee is added to this auction price, the total cost to pass through the canal can now reach new record-setting highs as the bid total approaches over $4.5 million to date. As a cost savings measure, alternative options have been suggested to ship owners that might find it more economical to take the alternative routes, such as via the Suez Canal or around the Cape of Good Hope, especially for gas ship owners like Avance, where CEO of the Flex LNG Limited and Avance Gas Holding Ltd said, you're getting close to $4.5 million to use the canal. So that's pricing out a lot of ships.
Which has been very good for the cargo owners because they've been selling LNG at very high prices. For the freight market, it's been not necessarily good because sailing distances have become shorter. More US cargoes gone to Europe. However, it's created some inefficiencies. And then it's also created, when value of a cargo goes up so much, some of the charters might put some ships just idling in order to capture opportunities. So even though last year we've seen a lot of the trade going to Europe, we had seen record high freight rates. So certainly, yes, geopolitics can have a big effect, both good or bad. For us, of course, we are a bit more insulated now because we have long-term fixed higher rates on 12 out of our 13 ships, so we only have one ship.
But the mounting delays at the Panama Canal can result in vessels failing to arrive on time at ports on the U.S. East Coast, which lead to the loss of cargo intended for those ships. So they end up having to pay the price, and they're being forced to pay that price. And the situation has raised the overall cost of using the canal to around $4.5 million in certain instances, which may deter many ships due to the high expense. But it won't deter the bidding scheme that they have worked up to drive their profits up for the limited availability of passage that the Panama Canal controls. We saw this happen just a little while ago. The whole supply chain bottleneck and shipping problems of the pandemic ended up driving up prices and jacking up inflation to the levels that we see today. And you can't convince me that this isn't being done on purpose. And these exuberant fees for cargo passing through the canals will be tacked on to the prices that we as consumers have to pay for the goods that we need and want. And this goes beyond the $18 McDonald's Big Mac combo in Connecticut, but it's along the same lines, and it will continue to climb and outpace the rate of wage increases until the bubble has no other choice but to pop. We are literally witnessing history repeating itself, folks. So exactly what economic challenges can we expect to see as a result of limited ships being able to pass through the Panama Canal? Well, there are numerous problems looming on the horizon, lurking around the corner. These limitations set on the number of ships that can pass through the Panama Canal could lead to several economic challenges. Number one, increased shipping costs, which we have already seen this happening. Number two, supply chain delays, which we all know how much fun those are. Number three, a shift in trade routes, and the list goes on and on. Increased environmental impacts, economic impacts on the region, competitiveness of Panamanian routes, variability in global commodity prices, logistical complications, contractual and financial risks, and inflationary pressures, just to name a few. And based on what happened last time during the C-19 pandemic, supply chain shortages created multifaceted problems for everyone. Businesses face difficulties in restocking products, with complex supply chains being particularly vulnerable to disruptions from shortages of inputs from other businesses. Consumers encountered price surges due to abrupt increases in commodity prices, notably in sectors like lumber, which impacting the affordability of housing and other goods. Government had to address both short and long-term supply chain issues, which affected overall economic stability and policy responses. Jobs and employment, as industries like hotels and restaurants struggled to hire quickly enough to meet demand, resulting in record job openings. Unemployment, which fluctuated as businesses adjusted to the changing economic conditions and supply chain challenges. The economy overall experienced a rapid shift, with businesses trying to adapt to supply chain shortages affecting productivity and growth. Stock markets were impacted as companies' earnings were affected by supply chain issues, altering investors' perceptions and market valuations. Housing markets faced delays in new construction due to material shortages, with home builders reporting shortages of key materials. Car and automotive markets saw a significant impact on consumer prices, with the motor vehicle sector contributing to a major part of the increase in core inflation. And inflation was driven up partly due to the increased costs of goods resulting from supply chain disruptions, as well as increased consumer demand. So basically, everybody got hit and everybody felt the pain. The supply chain shortages had a massive ripple effect, influencing various facets of the economy and affecting stakeholders at multiple levels. And the way I see it today, with the problems just getting warmed up at the Panama Canal, with limitations on the number of ships passing through the Panama Canal, or at least attempting to pass through, every day will result in increased shipping costs, drastically raising consumer prices due to higher transit bids, and the supply chain delays will further disrupt just-in-time delivery systems, causing shortages in manufacturing and retail, plus wrecking critical path schedules at the ports. And shipping companies may divert to longer routes like the Suez Canal, leading to higher fuel use and additional greenhouse gas emissions, not to mention impacts to the quality of freshness of cargo in transit, depending. And Panama's economy could suffer from reduced canal revenue, negatively impacting regional finances. This is more than just a drought problem that we face, causing a slight disruption of some products on the shelves at stores like Walmart and Target. No, this is mega. The ongoing drought, intensified by a severe El Nino event, has forced the Panama Canal Authority to implement a drastic reduction in vessel traffic, cutting down transits by 40 to 50% of full capacity. This will affect at least 40% of U.S. container traffic that relies on the canal, impacting over $270 billion in annual trade. Delays in shipping, especially to the U.S.'s East Coast, are already causing shippers to reconsider routes, with some opting for the longer Suez Canal route. Vessels are now transiting the canal 40% lighter to meet weight restrictions, and sometimes unloading cargo to transport across Panama by other means, or just dumping containers at sea, more than likely.
That of course means that we can offer less capacity to our customers as a result of this.
These measures are part of a broader water conservation effort, highlighting the canal's vulnerability to water scarcity and the far-reaching implications for global trade and a likely increase in government meddling to further promote their climate change agenda.
Ultimately, canal operators are working to maintain a balance between the water needs of the canal, the environment, and Panama's growing urban population.
We have to make provisions to supply fresh water for water consumption well in advance economic growth and population growth. There is a slight competition between water for transit and water for human consumption.
And I predict that the competitiveness of the Panamanian route may decline, creating huge risks of market share loss. Global commodity prices will become more volatile due to transit delays, and companies will face logistical issues, necessitating more inventory on hand, thus tying up capital, which the banks aren't interested in lending, and if so, they are at record high interest rates tied to federal funds prime rates that are continuously rising. Contractual penalties for delayed shipments will affect shipping companies' profits, and overall, these factors will inflate prices for imported goods, putting further pressure on global economies and forcing more bankruptcies. The situation underscores the canal's importance to international trade and the wide-reaching consequences of its operational constraints, but also yet another way that we can be controlled and manipulated, with the primary weapon of choice being the almighty dollar. And I can't say that I saw this coming exactly the way it's playing out right now, but I always knew that this fight would hit our wallets and our bank accounts more than anything else. It's time to get ready and prepare to stack whatever you can as fast as you can. Turn $1 into 2 and 2 into 200. There's really no other way right now. And I fear it's only going to get worse. If you want to talk money and finance, income, savings, investing, side hustles, passive income, reach out and let me know. Thank you guys for watching. Please take care. And remember, this is Kevin 247.
I can tell you my problems, meditating my silence. But I keep pushing my pen, rotating my stylus. Brokenness feeling like sin, now no breath, low dollar. Used to be left on red, now all the girls go holler. Now all the girls go follow. All the fake fans gon' pop.